Alright guys, Tetrabbit here today with another Rostermania rumours video. A lot of stuff went down yesterday, a lot of confirmed changes to talk through, and then where those players end up is where the rumours are surrounding right now. There's also some really interesting stuff which came out last night surrounding E United from the CoD burner himself, and I'll talk more about that character in a few minutes on this video. Firstly, I want to go through some confirmed changes and the rumours as to where those players may end up. So like if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. Make sure you keep up with all these news over the next few days. This is very interesting to start us off here. Skies from UYU, after it was effectively, I thought, confirmed a couple of days ago, or at least it was heavily rumoured that they were going to be sticking, he's now a free agent. So where Skies ends up is under the microscope, let's put it that way. And then Spoof says he's been officially released. He was dropped from Methods right at the start of the Pro League, so he's been officially released. So yeah, a couple of early news, and then the real big story yesterday, people thought, was this situation with Spacely becoming a free agent under Gen G. Now, a lot of people, I think, jumped the gun here because we've had this Accelerate situation. Now, Accelerate, I'll talk through this in just a second, but those guys have effectively been dropped entirely off their team, and there's a video from BZ that I will link down in the description box below, which talks about all the hardship they suffered, not getting paid, the fact that MLG wouldn't do anything about it, all of this kind of stuff. And you look, I don't want to comment on any of that. It's only his side of the story, of course, even though, of course, he says it's unbiased and whatever, and he does seem like a very sound guy, so I'm sure there is some element of truth to it. I will link it down in the description box below, as I said, but, I'm hoping that there'll be some sort of response from Accelerate and from MLG, so I can talk about that more in depth in another video to keep you guys updated. But if you guys want to watch the video from BZ, I'll leave it down in the description box below. That kind of explains for his side of the situation with the XG, and, well, it's not a pretty one. Go on to that in just a second though. Here we're talking about Spacely because a lot of people saw that situation with the XG and thought, okay, well, organisations, so much power right now, they're dropping the players left, right and centre. This change I think was instigated by the players themselves, which is very intriguing. So, exploring my options since the team decided it was in their best interest to replace me. Everything happens for a reason, I wish them the best of luck. DMs are open. Now this is the rest of his tweets. So, above we have just stopped seeing eye to eye, and there was a minimum respect for my opinion, I felt like most of the time as it went on. I actually fully enjoy playing CoD again somewhere else, so I'm excited to get back on track. My fault, could have prevented this all from day one and not extended a hand. Friendly reminder, people are truly built differently. Last on the matter, moving on. Gen G is a phenomenal organisation. I wish them nothing but the best like they deserve. This happening isn't their fault and any comments should not be directed towards them. It's just what it is at this point. Just going to ride it out under Gen G until I find myself a spot on a league team. Not going from first in the Pro League to open bracket. So it does seem like Spacely's off this squad, or at least as a free agent. Now he is likely still getting paid under a contract. The fact that he said Gen G is a phenomenal organisation probably has some implications there, that he's probably still on the contract, which means he still makes some cash while he's sitting there on the bench. Now, the fifth that they seem to have replaced Spacely with, so the team, of course, is Morks, Havoc, Nagafen, and Major Maniac. And their fifth is supposedly going to be Envoy, which is very interesting because Midnight have a hell of a situation on their hands right now. Accelerate, as I said, will just get into it, basically drop their entire squad. Midnight, I think, have tried to do a similar thing, except from Llama God, who is rumoured to still be around on that team somewhere. But anyway, the rest of the guys seem to have been tried to get rid of by Midnight, but there has been some rumours that maybe MLG have blocked those moves due to dodgy situations with the owner and the kind of complications we've had on Twitter that I talked about a couple of days ago. I'll leave all those videos down in the description box below. But Envoy apparently has been released and has managed to make his way onto this Gen G team, which is very interesting indeed. I thought Spacely was like a leader figure on this squad. Maybe they feel like they don't need him. This team, of course, in terms of pure firepower, what we've seen from Envoy should improve, but it's a very interesting change. And if it comes true, which it seems kind of likely to, but then again, as I say, everything in this video, the large part, is a lot of speculation, a lot of rumours, a lot of theories, and these things can change very quickly indeed. So don't take this as hard and fast evidence that Envoy is joining the squad. Take it with a grain of salt, but if this team does happen, what do you guys think about it? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. So then we've got to talk about the EXG situation. Myself believe BZ and Emery's are looking for an organisation to represent in the open bracket at CWL Fort Worth and so on. We're also looking at every single option for a fifth spot at the roster. DMS so we can begin practice. Back to the passion pit we go. Hashtag get busy. So this situation's obviously really interesting because Fastballer got dropped for Robbie Beeman to come onto the bench, and now Robbie has been dropped, and he's actually going to be teaming with Fastballer, but Fastballer is still on the bench here of EXG. So despite him being dropped, but they are looking for a team under Fastballer, OP Suda, which is Happy, Robbie Beeman, Turn Up, and Johnny Tsunami. So those guys are looking for a team for the open bracket, it does seem. This is the statement from Accelerate. We've officially parted ways with Believe, BZ, Emery's, Profizi and Robbie Beeman. We'd like to wish them the best of luck going forward and want to thank them for all they've done while under Accelerate. With CWL Fort Worth approaching quickly, we plan to have an announcement soon regarding our CWL Pro League roster. Of course, it is very interesting indeed the fact that this is even possible, right? Like, Accelerate have dropped their entire team. The only player that hasn't been dropped is Fastballer, and he's still on the bench. They're going to be getting a completely new squad of 5 after the team didn't perform, even though these guys earned their spot. They qualified through the Pro League qualifier. So it's an awful situation for the players, the fact that they earned their spot in the league and now they're completely out of it with no opportunity to come back really through another team. There's not like another team's going to pick these guys up. Instead, they're going to be replaced by, pro players that didn't manage to qualify. I think there at least should be a rule where 3 of the 5 should have to be kept. I think OG the Killer had an interesting observation that maybe instead of just 3 out of 5 qualified from that team, you could just have 3 out of 5 that qualified full stop. So you could replace the guys on Accelerate with 3 others from another team as long as they also qualified organically through the league. You shouldn't be able to bring in a whole set of 5 new players that didn't even qualify for the league, for example. So that's one observation. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. It's a difficult situation for sure. And as I say, BZ did this video on it. He talks about a lot of stuff. Another thing to mention here, video game attorney Morrison says the following. He's a lawyer and agent for esports, game dev and streaming. He says this about Accelerate's tweet. I've turned a new leaf in 2019 to try and be more professional. Yelling on Twitter about orgs like Nala HDK, the way they treat players only does so much. So tell me, friends, how can I accelerate the way I let the industry know when orgs are run by scum? So, well, just putting that out there. Just for a bit more confirmation of this Envoy move is likely to happen. We have a lobby here with Maniac in, Envoy, Felony, Royalty, and Nagafen. So Envoy, Naga, of course, potentially on that Gen G team, and Maniac, of course, as well. And then Felony and Royalty still on that Evil Geniuses squad, and supposedly Attach was also in this lobby. So, well, it seems all confirmed. Alright, so now it's time to talk about the United thing. This is from a CoD burner. So this guy or girl has a lot of information in last season's Rostermania periods. A lot of the stuff ended up coming true. A lot of the United changes, the optic changes, the changes that happened much earlier in the season, and also that summer roster change period after champs. A lot of correct info, a lot of trustworthy info. Definitely has some reasonable sources, not always correct. The pros have been saying on Twitter lately that some of his stuff hasn't been correct as of late. So, well, don't know. Take it with a grain of salt, of course. It's very interesting nonetheless. So I think it's definitely worth discussing, and I'm sure you guys that are United fans would, well, I don't know about enjoy this, but at least appreciate the fact that this could have been what happened. So let's go through this post. Firstly, you're going to talk about the Spacely thing. Some orgs let the players decide on the roster and let them vote out if other players if it's unanimous. Gen G is one of those orgs that lets them do that. So when the other 4 ganged up on Spacey, there was nothing they could do about it. Space tweeted he's going to write it out on the bench and not go to the open bracket. That's smart because I heard he has guaranteed money. His contract, yeah, that's what I was saying. And he'd lose it if he went elsewhere. Now with E United, and this is the juicy part. E United is one of those orgs that doesn't let their players have a say. A few weeks ago, 4 players on EU wanted to make a roster change and went behind the 5th player's back to the org. The player they tried to kick out was Clayster. Now, I think this somewhat explains a couple of the tweets we've seen. There was that rumour that he wanted to kick out Pristini, right, a couple of days ago, and I definitely didn't do a good enough job in suggesting to you guys that that's all speculation and, well, everything like that. I'll definitely do a better job with that in future. But yes, there was a lot of people sending Clayster, like, apparently death threats and the like, as a result of the tweets and the rumours and the like that were coming around on Twitter. So, it's understandable that he wasn't being very happy with that situation when, well, supposedly he was the one even meant to be getting dropped off this team. Now, the org told that under no circumstances, because he's the face of their org, which of course makes sense. He also signed a contract until at least the end of next season, I think. So, well, that would be a difficult one. Pristini cried about the org not listening, supposedly, and told Burns he was being a pussy-ass bitch. Lisa gross and balls. Management got pissed and told Pristini he was off the team for disobedience, and that when he started tweeting stuff out. So Pristini did a tweet saying content over winning, I think, something like that. And I was like, who the hell can that be related to apart from Clayster? Well, that's kind of how I speculated it in the previous video. EU thought about getting Zuma, but FaZe wouldn't sell, and the Twins' mum talked to EU management and begged them not to drop Pristini. Then he apologised to. EU is one of of those orgs that doesn't let the players have a say, which is why Felony got dropped when the players didn't want that to happen. A lot of scumbagging in CoD if you didn't see it already. So just to deal with this last paragraph, so with Envoy telling people he's going to Genji, the rest of the odd Midnight is going to EXG now, and some combination of lamps, which refers to Lacefield, Alex, Madcat, Parasite, and Saints, which supposedly was meant to be some of the names that have been flown around EXG. Now, stuff with Midnight and EXG has changed so many times, so of course, take it with a grain of salt. So I'm going to go through some of CoD Burner's replies to people in the comments right here if you want to read through some of them, get some ideas. There's also some interesting stuff further down a little bit on Red Reserve that I think we'll go through. So I'll just scroll through some of these. I'll see if I see any interesting comments, then we can touch on them. So yeah, I didn't hear anything solid, but it was on the table. They could move Cap or Alec to different roles easily. The main thing was about getting him off the team, but he's too expensive to drop with his 3-year contract. Yeah, I made a video a fair while ago talking about how supposedly Clayster signed a contract to 2020, which likely means the end of the 2020 season. So whatever the game comes out this year, Modern Warfare 4 or something, Clayster has a contract signed up towards the end of that, which is, you know, pretty insane. And yeah, I think this is the difficulty really for United fans. Even with EU sticking, man, the vibe's got to be all off. And yeah, Codburner says bingo because, well, why wouldn't it be? Clayster, if this is true, Clayster has attempted to be dropped by the rest of his team, but the management wouldn't allow it, and then Pristini has ended up going on the bench, and then stuff's got crazy with parents getting involved, all of that stuff, and then they're going to stick together after all of that. Like, yes, winning cures it all, as Codburner says right here, but it doesn't cure it all forever, and we'll have to see what happens towards Fort Worth, because I don't exactly have incredibly high hopes now for United as a result of this. So Codburner also mentions how Ferro was another name in consideration here for EXG, along with Lacefield, Alex, Madcat, Saints, and Parasite, but supposedly that team isn't happening. It's just some names that have been floated around and names that could potentially end up on the team. The Midnight roster, the old Midnight roster, minus Envoy, and also I think Llama is still on Midnight. The rest of those guys have also been rumoured around EXG, so it's very difficult to say who is going to turn up on this team right now for sure. This is another interesting comment. Have to pick up a new roster, that's Midnight, because no one wants to buy any spots. UYU asked for 150k for their spot before the league started, and Gene2 and FaZe said no. Last I heard, still they don't want to buy a spot, even for the asking prices are low. Maybe Rich Guy comes into play. Talked about Rich Guy a while ago, don't want to go into details about that now. Any news on where Zuma and Attach are going to go? Pretty sure they sold him, same with Priest and Reap. Zuma's probably going to sit out and collect his 20k a month since no one will pay that, so Zuma's still balling, but yeah, he's obviously in some sort of hefty contract here with FaZe, and it's going to be difficult for him to break away from that, but if he doesn't play, then he's still got some money behind him, it does seem at the current time. This is the last thing I want to touch on. What about Red Reserve? Are they still under the same org? Yeah, they will play under Red for a while. I don't know if Red actually got new investors, but that's what they told the players. Even if Red didn't pay the players, they still own the spot, and it's the same problem happening with Midnight. So this really is a difficult situation for a lot of players and a lot of teams right now. Whether MLG will get involved in this is questionable. I hope they make some sort of response because, well, this year the players earned the spot. If these teams had played $5 million, whatever it's going to be, for a franchising spot, and they decide, okay, we're going to drop some of the players on our team, then to some degree, that's fair enough. They have the power. The players earned the spot this year. The fact that all of them can get dropped off a team is crazy. The fact that the orgs own the spot to such a great extent that they can potentially not even pay their players and get away with it, like BZ's talking about with Accelerate. MLG won't do anything about it. Crazy situation. Of course, it's speculation. Take it with a grain of salt. I'll cover it going forwards if possible. I wouldn't be surprised if some actual high-tier esports journalists, the likes of Richard Lewis, the likes of Slasher, get involved with this one because, well, it's an interesting situation indeed. So leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.